Gur mágad leis ceann cóir agus tá cinse go mé spéis agus sa san ábhar seo. Is dóile mar go minic go mbeadh muid tuairt faoin daobh mí cheart go aibbeanna. Agus seachas meálathirt go chuoine sé dhéanamid ná an dlí le na nuas chuoine nach chun mór an ráha acu. Minister, the recent controversy about smoky coal and smoky fuel and smoky turf has focused nearly totally on distribution and sale of these fuels. But the question that doesn't seem to have been asked is why and who are the people who predominantly buy these fuels and why do they do it? And I'd like to focus in particular on a section for which you, as Minister of Housing, are responsible directly, and that is the local authority houses that are fuelled by solid fuel. Now, I think it's fair to say that lots of people have a stove in their house that they use occasionally, but they have some other main source of fuel for cooking and for heating water and for heating the house. But my experience is that a lot of local authority houses are mainly dependent on solid fuel ranges and on solid fuel for heating the house and on solid fuel for heating water. And in that case, of course, they have to keep the solid fuel burner going all day. Certainly, and I can't get the figures because nobody provided me the figures, but from my experience of dealing with constituents, it seems a totally disproportionate number of the people in my constituency dependent for their main source of heating and the same main source of cooking on solid fuel are in local authority houses. And this is true in Galway City as much as it's true in Galway County. Now, you can't blame these people for buying turf. It's the fuel they're familiar with. And there's also the issue of the cost of smokeless fuel. But anyway, all of those fuels have emissions. So, Minister, what I'd first of all like to do is to suggest, and I hope I get a positive answer, that the department find out from each local authority how many houses in their stock are dependent on solid fuel as their primary source of energy. Because without the information, you can't solve the problem. And having found that out, to have an urgent programme that would be completed within 5 years, allowing the difficulties in procurement, etc., that would replace all of these with sustainable systems that would not only deal with the emissions issue in terms of smoke, but also with the emissions issue in terms of carbon. I would have to say I was disappointed when I did put a question down the Dáil on this issue to get a reply that the department didn't know, and they didn't say they were even going to find out. So maybe we could do a two-step progress. How many houses, and then resolve the issue, and instead of punishing people, assist people who are in fuel poverty. You wouldn't have that problem in Dublin.
For putting on this very important issue. I would like to provide an update on behalf of the Department of Housing, Local Government and Heritage. And like you, Deputy, I'm from a large rural constituency who does have a huge dependency on fossil fuels. So I can absolutely understand in terms of the absolute need to have an alternative before certain public policy measures are pursued, because if that is not the case, well, then you will lose people along the way and we won't get to reach our targets in the long run. The Department has launched the Energy Efficiency Retrofit Programme in 2013 with the aim of funding retrofit of social houses requiring insulation and energy upgrade works. Since the programme commenced in 2013 to the end of 2021, over 75,000 units of social housing stock have been retrofitted with a total exchequer spend of €183 million under the scheme. The Energy Efficiency Programme was revised in 2021 with an increased budget made available to local authorities. A significant part of the programme is focused on minimising heat loss by upgrading the external fabric, walls, roof space, windows and doors, and upgrading the heating systems. The funding available under the terms of this new deeper refit programme does not, however, provide for fossil fuel heating systems or inset stoves in place of open fires. If appropriate, local authorities can install such systems utilising funding from their own resources. The revised 10-year programme will see a significant upscaling to deeper retrofit on what has been completed by local authorities in previous years. A strong emphasis on fuel poverty and the need to improve thermal performance in social housing stock remains an absolute priority for the Department. In 2021, over €21.7 million of Exchequer funding to support was provided in relation to retrofit work carried out on 1,584 dwellings. The Department acknowledges the difficult environment within which local authorities have had to work in 2021 with a construction shutdown and supply chain problems impacting on delivery, and I look forward to a significantly improved output under this programme in 2022. The newly revised and enhanced programme will not only benefit local authorities in assisting them in the upgrade and maintenance of their housing stock, but will more importantly benefit homeowners and householders in many ways. Their homes will be warmer, easier to heat and more comfortable. It will enhance their air quality in the home, and for those currently using oil or gas, they will see a significant saving on their energy bills. The scheme will also stimulate employment generation. Retrofitting homes is a highly labour-intensive sector and can create high-quality, sustainable jobs in local communities throughout the country, and has the capacity to play a very important role in the economic recovery going forward. Thank you, Laska Cora.
Minister, I know you've been given a pre-prepared answer, and it's the same cut and paste that I got when I put down a parliamentary question. First of all, it doesn't address question number one. Are we going to ascertain how many houses that are in local authority ownership are mainly fuelled by solid fuel? Yes or no? And the second issue is, Minister, I noticed here, for example, it says it's easier to eat more comfortably, it'll enhance air quality in the home for those currently using oil or gas. Now, the question I asked specifically related to solid fuel. Why? Because the Minister of the Environment keeps telling us that there are 1,300 people dying because of particulate matter pollution that's not caused, according to him, by oil, and we know it's not caused by gas. This particular issue of the particulate, they do obviously emit carbon-based energy, but they don't have particulate problems. Now, Minister, on one hand, with the Minister in the Environment telling us that we're killing people, on the other hand, the other side of the government won't even find out how many or how big a cause they are to this problem and how much they're contributing to it by insisting on not changing as a priority the houses that are fuelled by solid fuel to a much more sustainable form of heating. And this seems to be showing a total lack of joined-up government in relation to this matter. So, Minister, can I reiterate? The question is quite simple. One, is it intended to find out how many local authority houses are fuelled by solid fuel mainly? And secondly, is it intended to have a special programme focused at changing the fuel source in those houses to something more sustainable? And they are the two big issues. And can I finally say, it is my observation that the vast majority of the houses in Galway City that face this problem are either local authority houses and, in a smaller number of cases, private houses owned by people who are very, who are not well off, who are very disadvantaged. So, Minister, I think it's time that the state put its money
'tis time.
where its mouth was. Thank you, Lascan Corlac. Tá mé cinnte goil se seo cogar go do chríosa agus atá se go mo chríosa. Agus go dacfuil tú go homlan no.
Much, Lascan Corlan, and I thank Deputy Ó Cuív for raising this very important matter. To be very specific and clear, in the first instance, I advised that from 2013, in terms of local authority homes, that 75,000 were completed in terms of retrofit out to 2021. Secondly, there is a scheme in place specifically to deal with local authority housing and give them a deep retrofit, which was revised last year. The scheme will be aimed globally in this country to do 500,000 houses up to B2, optimal equivalent of BER rating. And again, that will be giving people an alternative who are reliant on fossil fuels, that they will now have an alternative going into the future. But it will take time, and I think government has to be honest about that. You know, we are at capacity now in our construction sector, higher than we were at recessionary or pre-recessionary times. We have a massive retrofitting scheme underway, and we have some of the biggest capital infrastructural projects underway in this country, €165 billion to be delivered in the next decade. So government is working at pace to deliver those 500,000 homes. So for the specifics, we have the biggest retrofitting scheme in the country since the state was formed underway to deliver 500,000 homes in this state. 75,000 from our local authority stock has been completed from 2013. In relation to the parliamentary question you asked of Minister O'Brien, I'll revert to him to get the specific stock that are reliant on fossil fuels and go directly to you with the response to that. Thank you.